Man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of Jake'sTake.com, pop culture entertainment news website. If you're listening to this on any of our audio platforms, please give it a 5-star review. Please download episodes and more episodes. I am thrilled to welcome this guest today. He started as the voice on The Voice season 16, John Legend's first season. And
Yes.
was the finalist on Team Legend, the very first ever Team Legend. He's
Yeah.
also backing vocalist for not just John Legend, but also for Monica. And he opened for the one and only Mary J. Blige and Talib Kweli. And then not to mention his song, All Boys Aren't Blue, is nominated for a Daytime Emmy. So please help me welcome Julian King to the podcast.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Julian, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're not however, you're the first Emmy-nominated person I've ever had on my podcast.
Well, I'm glad to be a first. Wow, thank you.
You're so welcome. That's just like I've had. I gotta give a shout out to Emmy-winning journalist Jane Blaise Mitchell, but an
Yes.
Emmy-nominated recording artist. I have never had this on my podcast. So you're making history, my friend.
Okay. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So when did you get interested in performing, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the music industry?
So it actually, before music was even a thing, I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. And I went to the top academic school in Philadelphia called J.R. Masterman, and from there I was going to go high school, college, and end up studying marine biology. But it was around like maybe 8th grade. I did a musical. My music teacher found out that I could sing, and then I did the musical, and I was like, wow, I really, really like this. And next thing I know, I went to high school for creative and performing arts, and then went to University of the Arts and graduated from both, and then here we are.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So I gotta say, because I'm a reality TV historian, I've been covering reality television since 2012, but watching
Right.
professionally since 2003. So
Okay.
with Talent Podcast. So why did you choose The Voice over something like American Idol or America's Got Talent?
Well, actually, by the time I made it on the show, I feel like I had auditioned for all of the shows. Idol, Got Talent, even X Factor when X Factor was a thing. I had auditioned for The Voice the year before and didn't make it. So by the time 2018 is when I had auditioned again when I got back from China. I was like, because they reached out to me, I said, okay, let's just see what this is giving. I also had been gone at that point for a year. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this could be pretty cool to do when I got back. And I ended up making the show, and I ended up making John's team, and I ended up using John's only block, his very first season. Like I know that John will never forget me.
That's
Yeah.
great, because the thing is, that season was the first transitionary season, because this was Adam Levine's final season and John's first, and I believe Kelly Clarkson's third.
Yeah, and it was the first season that The Voice had ever done cross battles. So it was a lot of attention on our season. Plus Maroon 5 had just done the Super Bowl that year. It was a lot of attention on that season in particular, and it ended up being such a really, really, really good season full of really talented singers whom I'm still friends with to this day.
Which is amazing. So I gotta say, I bet that to have an EGOT winner turn around for you and use his only block for you, I bet that must have been an incredible feeling.
It was an incredible feeling. What I will say is, when the chairs first turned around, I was kind of over here to the crowd, so I didn't really know who it was until I got to the chorus of the song, and then I was like, oh my goodness. There's so much adrenaline that's happening in that moment. That was the moment I went from just a local singer to like people knowing me and really liking my voice and my performances and understanding me as an artist. So it was a lot of emotions that were kind of running through my brain at that time. And all I had known is, regardless of whether it was a block or not, I had made the show, which was just my original goal, to just make the show, get the air.
And not only that, you made it to the finale. Only a very select few
Yeah, so
people.
I made it all the way up. We started the live shows and the cross battles had just begun. And like to go from hundreds and thousands of people to 150 people to just 50, like that's an accomplishment in and of itself. And I'm so grateful for that time in my life because I wasn't, there was no other way in the world I could have been more prepared for that moment than that moment. And I was just so excited to finally be back home in America. I had been living in China for a year previously, and I was so excited to just be around people my age and be singing those types of music, those songs again. Like it just was a memory I don't think I'll ever forget that.
So, what were some of the lessons that you learned from Jon and his team during the entire voice season that you carry with you today?
So I think that leading up to my time being on The Voice, I had just worked so hard, so hard, so hard for a moment like that. That one of the biggest lessons I learned from Jon was to really be able to just own whoever it was that I was and whatever it was that I was doing, right? Like there's a sense of je ne sais quoi that comes with John Legend that is just, I think people love his talent, but people also love his regality. And that experience taught me to kind of just sit in the fruits of my labor a little bit and be happy no matter what happens moving forward. Be happy with the fact that you've made it to this point, because that means that you're in the spaces that you were always created to be in. And then also it's just to trust my gut. I had a lot of creative control when it came down to music, the choices, the arrangements, from my very first song to my very last song, even the song that me and John Legend rehearsed that I didn't get to sing. I had a lot of creative control, and John really respected my um the itch that was inside of me. And because of it, I felt like I got to flourish even more because I then began to trust myself even the more. And it just was a beautiful exchange between me and John, really. Like I felt like it didn't really have anything to do with the competition or the competitors or the prize. I was there gaining so much knowledge and understanding and experience that it didn't matter what happened. It didn't matter when I went home.
Absolutely, and those are great lessons, and not just from John Legend, but also no. A lot of people can't say that they have performed with Monica, but also opened for Mary J. Blige and Talib Kweli. So,
Yeah.
did you have any memorable lessons from them, and what did they share with you as a music industry and professional?
I feel like each of my experiences with all of these artists, um, the biggest lesson I can learn was to always be ready. I remember getting the call to open for Mary J. Blige up in Connecticut at the big casino. And I had less than 24 hours to say yes and then to get up to Connecticut for that duration of the run. I remember getting called for Monica for Good Morning America. And at that point, I was at my friend's like graduation party. I was drinking. Yeah, I had about 24 hours to get home, pack a bag, learn the music, get to New York City, and be ready for rehearsal for Good Morning America. And all of these instances, as I look back, had I not been ready, I would have not been able to take the opportunity. I pride myself on trying to stay as ready as possible because I never want to be the reason that I miss an opportunity.
And I am impressed, and I'm very impressed that you went full on amazing race mode and got what you were doing, stopped what you were doing, and gone directly to those opportunities.
Yeah, for me, I love life and I value friendship and I value community and I love being amongst the people that I love and that love me in return. But I have a goal, and if there's an opportunity to get there, I love you all, but there's work that needs to be done. And this one opportunity could change the trajectory of my situation at a current time. Like, you just never really know. I have friends of mine who are on tour with Beyonce right now, living their wildest dreams. And they were ready. When they got the call, they were ready. They showed up, they showed out, they were ready. And look at them now.
I gotta say, to have friends that are working with Beyonce right now, that's just another thing, and like that just showcases your level of professionalism.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So, I want to talk to you about this June is Pride Month, and one of the biggest things that are out right now is All Boys Aren't Blue. So, how did you get involved with that project?
So I remember at the time I was doing what everyone else was doing during the pandemic, watching TV and eating and drinking and just being merry. I found out about this book, All Boys Aren't Blue. I was intrigued by the cover, which made me order it. I bought the book and I read it very fast because clearly we weren't going anywhere and doing anything. Loved the book. I immediately felt like I was reading something that I had never read before. I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt understood, I felt aligned with, I felt acknowledged with, and that prompted me to use my savings. And I bought about 50 books, copies of that book. I invited my cousins and my close friends, my siblings, although we probably really should not have met, but we met. I invited them to my apartment. It was very intimate. It wasn't like a party, but it was very intimate. And I shared the book with everyone. I gave everyone a copy. I had like a little moment. And I was so touched by the book that I ended up just writing a song one night in the stillness of my aloneness. And I never in a million years thought that the record would see the light of day, but I started working with new people musically, and I was letting them kind of hear what I was working on, and everyone stopped and paused at that record. And I'm just like, wow. I Not that I didn't think it was special, because at the time I thought that it was like energy was flowing through me, creativity was flowing through me, and it just was something that came out, and I just never thought it was going to do anything. That led to them being super interested. That led me to finally like, okay, maybe this is way bigger than I gave it credit for. So I hunted the author down. I found their Instagram. I found their email address. I emailed the author. Shout out to George M. Johnson. George ended up responding. I didn't even think they would respond, but they did. And then I asked if they would listen to the record. They said yes. I sent the record. They ended up loving it. And then next thing I know, I find out that the book is being turned into a dramatic read, and it's the ending song of the entire film. It has been a gift, the gift that has just kept on giving since 2020 now at this point. I'm telling you, when I remember sitting at my computer, writing this song, recording it, falling in love, it was like a healing thing for me too. And it's been the backbone of a lot of my conversations. And then to be a part of a team that is Emmy nominated for something that George was just writing out of their own personal experience. And I was just writing this record out of just healing and trying to get better at learning Pro Tools. And next thing you know, I'm a part of an Emmy nominated team. I actually didn't think I'd ever say those words, Emmy nominated, but it feels pretty good to have done this, independent without a label, to have done this without budget, to have done this without any real machine behind me. it feels like I'm a part of something special. And I can't wait to see what this ends up turning into once the rest of the world finds out that all boys aren't blue.
And that's amazing. So, what did it? Could you describe your reaction to my audience? Like, when did it feel like to say you got the news that All Boys Aren't Blue is not Emmy nominated?
Well, to be completely honest, I woke up and I was actually at my best friend's house, and I got a FaceTime call from the director, Nathan. Nathan called me and he's like, "Did you see the news?" And I'm sitting there like, "The news? I'm just waking up. It's giving very much 9:30 in the morning." And he's like, "All Boys Aren't Blue is Emmy nominated." And I froze at the island in the kitchen. And I'm like, "Well, wait, y'all are Emmy nominated, but does this?" And he's like, "Yes, this includes the entire team." And I was just like blown away at that point. I was shaking in disbelief because I'm like, I'm music. So I'm thinking I would have had a Grammy nomination before an Emmy nomination. I never in a million years. And that's why I say that this song and this whole experience is just like the gift that keeps on giving, because I'm like, wow, wasn't expecting this. What else is in the path? That this still, it's with Amazon Prime now, but there's still so many people that haven't seen it, and there's still so many people that haven't read the book nor heard the song. What's going to happen when the world hears it, and when you see the World Pride 2024 and you hear All Boys Aren't Blue in the back of that trailer for World Pride in Washington, D.C., like, that's going to be a different type of experience. But I'm so grateful for this experience right now in the present, because it feels like my hard work is paying off. And I feel so grateful for the energy and the feeling that I get back from these blessings, because I give willingly in my artistry, and I give because it feels good to me. And at that night, All Boys Aren't Blue, it just felt good to me. I ended up writing it in about an hour and recording it, and it was done. I had released it. And no one really can prepare you for something like this to happen in your life. It just has to happen. And then based on the level of maturity or where you are in your life, you just end up experiencing and being able to control your emotions the best that you can.
That's incredible. And like I say, you just plugged in 2024 and you're before, if you with World Pride in Washington, D.C. with that song, that is, I think, a moment that you're going to be ready for.
Yeah, that would be that. This record has reminded me that what I do is more than just my love for singing and recording and writing, and my dream of having the world hear my music. Like, this record has reminded me that my gift is just bigger than what I envision. And I just look forward to the doors that open and the spaces that I'm able to walk in as a result of it.
And who knows, you might begin the path that what your mentor found himself on.
Yeah. Who knows? One day I could end up in a red chair.
I can see it now. Voice 55.
Okay.
All righty. So, as we are in Pride Month, in your humble opinion, how can allies of the LGBTQIA plus community help strengthen their bonds with the community after Pride Month ends?
This answer is very simple.
Oh.
It's all about relationship. It's all about respect. And it's all about love. At the root of it all, I believe that those are the bases. If we lead with love and respect, we can cultivate relationship. And with relationship, we can begin to further understand each other. We can begin to further unite the spaces that keep us apart. I love that we have allies in this world, but I hate that we even have to say we have allies in this world. I hate that it has even gotten to that point. We're all, I can't remember whether this was Prince or not, but we're all just having like a human experience. We got to stop putting boxes and labels on things and just get back to the root of who we are, which is human. This is a month that I'm grateful for, because for a large majority of my community, we have been very marginalized and very segregated and very diminished. So to the point where a lot of people don't even feel they are worth anything, right? So to have a time period where we're celebrated by seemingly all, it lifts some of my peers up in ways that is unimaginable. But it's beyond this 30 days. It really is a life walk. And I think that if we can kind of all get back to just leading with, we may not all agree on everything. I don't agree on everything me and my siblings and cousins and parents all believe. But if we could just lead with love and respect, that's the cure to cancer.
Absolutely. Those are absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%. 100%. I totally agree with you, Julian. So, second to last question. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, my podcast gets this. I always welcome performers who get their start on shows like The Voice or Got Talent or even American Idol and X Factor. So, what advice would you share with my listeners who want to audition for these shows?
It's a very different game now, because back in Kelly Clarkson's days, there was no social media. But back in my days of The Voice, social media was at a peak, at an all-time high, and was continuing to rise. I mean, I remember 2018, they were telling us to download TikTok. And I was like, TikTok, what is this app? TikTok, what is that? Even after the show had started airing, they're like, download TikTok. It's becoming the biggest. I paid it. And now to see what it has become, I kind of regret not downloading it in 2018. But here we are. I think it's important now in this age to definitely, one, know exactly who you are, because that makes everybody's job easier. That makes the music department's job easier when they're choosing songs. It makes the stylist job easier when they're choosing clothes. It just makes the producer's jobs easier when they're putting together the story. And then two, in knowing who you are, lead with your strengths and understand that that's who you want the world to see, right? But if you don't know who that is, then it's going to be pretty difficult to try to get people to love you if you don't 1,000% love exactly who you are. Be ready, be flexible, be vulnerable enough to know that you're there to learn instead of just take, but you're also, you need to be teachable. And then lastly, just give it all you got. Like, I remember when I was doing that audition, singing All Time Low, there was nothing that no one could tell me at that point. I felt like Michael Jackson in Invincible. Like, it didn't even matter at that point if I made the show or not, because I was standing there 10 toes down, ready for that beat to drop so that I could give the girls what it was that I had to give. And I'm still to this day, like, as I grow vocally, I'm like, there's probably something that I probably would have done differently. But I'm so proud of that moment. I'm so proud of who I was and what I had become at that moment. And that's what you want to do when you look back at a moment like that. Like, damn, I'm so proud and I'm so happy with that performance and who I was. And although I may have gotten better in XYZ, that was the best that I had to give at that point. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And by the way, Michael Jackson, you said Michael Jackson, Invincible. There's no performer like Michael. There will never be another performer like him. And I'm sorry, but today's music is not the same without him.
I know. The standard has definitely wiggled.
Yeah. It's like, and I was just watching the history tour and like seeing him do those huge things with Smooth Criminal and the way he make me feel and
Mhm.
Billie Jean transforming that into from a 4-minute song into a 9-piece masterpiece with that huge dance break at the end.
I miss going to a show and forgetting about my car gas being on E and my phone about to die and I might not have the most money in my account or I forgot to put on deodorant. Nothing mattered. It was just an experience. It was like an outer body spiritual experience that I got to just let my spirit relax and be entertained and be drawn into this world for just 2 hours or 3 hours, however long the concert experience was. I miss those days so much. And I think that's why people love Beyonce so much because they get to forget about all their worries for 2 hours minimum and focus on what is happening in the world and in the universe at that point and be grateful that they're a part of that experience. That's what I hope to give people when they watch me perform and they watch me at these prides that I'm headlining and stuff. Like I want that magic of like, wow, somebody's really the showmanship, the vocals, the performance, the stamina, the dance, the smoothness, the everything is there. That I miss. And that's why I studied Prince and Stevie and Beyonce because I'm a performer at heart.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it shows. So, Julian, last question. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, where can they find out where you're performing?
Mm-hmm.
Second question is, where can they find All Boys Aren't Blue? And
Mm-hmm.
third question is, where can they find you on social media?
Well, I got a very easy answer for you. So my social media and my actual official website are the same. So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, as well as TikTok, at it's Julian King ITS JULIAN KING. And that's also my official website. It's julianking.com. It'll have links to All Boys Aren't Blue, the record, as well as other music of mine, as well as All Boys Aren't Blue available for stream on Amazon Prime, as well as all of my upcoming dates, all of my photos, my diary, anything that you are interested in is definitely going to be on itsjulianking.com.
Awesome. Guys, for more information about my stuff, including Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Visit me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and head to jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Julian, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule for our conversation
Thank
today.
you for
I
having me.
totally enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. We'll talk
Alrighty,
soon.
guys. Thank you so much and have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.